Hey, welcome back to It's Called Soccer. Today's episode was recorded about a week ago. I left it up though because I consider it to be very interesting to see just exactly where our predictions for how the World Cup was going to play out is actually playing out in real time. So if something like that interests you, stay tuned and check us out. I want to know your best and worst team in each group, and we can go group by group if you want. Group A, I have Qatar, Ecuador, Senegal, and Netherlands.
I mean, clearly Qatar's the worst there. I have to say that. They have no players in FIFA. That tells me everything I need to know. I don't mean to be rude. It's just that tells me everything I need to know right there.
Yeah.
The best team in that group, Netherlands.
Okay.
I like Senegal, but no Mane, that hurts. That hurts a lot.
No Mane, no money. That's the bottom line. So I'm going to say for Group A, Qatar is going to be better than you think. Believe it or not, none of the players on Qatar squad are from Qatar.
Where are they from?
I think that they're all like transplants from African nations. Like the Saudis, when they were making the bid for this World Cup a while ago, like they identified a bunch of teenagers and it was like, okay, you're from Senegal and you're like 12. Hey, we're finna move your family here. We're finna give y'all everything y'all need, you know? And so like their team, they have a lot of Muslim last names, but these dudes are from other places. Like nobody's from Qatar, but they are like really, really solid dudes. And to qualify for the World Cup, like they're not just a host nation. Like you can be a host nation and not have a team in, but like these dudes qualified as like, I think they won the Asian Cup, if I'm not mistaken.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
With a really young team. So they're going to be better than you think. They may even steal a game off Senegal and could mess around and have like a Russia 2018 type run where, you know, you're thinking, oh, this is the worst team in the World Cup.
Wow.
And they make it to like the third round. I'm not saying that, but
I completely forgot about Russia. Completely forgot about Russia.
You remember that? They were the 32nd ranked team out of 32. And they made it, they knocked off some big, big teams. And my wife and I were watching and we were joking. We were like, man, Putin's got their families like held hostage in the booth and they're on the phone like, you better lose this game. You know what I'm saying? Because there was no reason they won games that they won. It was freaking nuts. But I would say, again, in the group, I'm going Netherlands and Qatar to make it out. Because I do want to count out Senegal because I don't think they have the top to bottom depth. And I think Netherlands and Qatar could steal games off of both teams. Okay. Group B. So Group B's got England, Iran, USA, and Wales.
Worst. I'm going to say Iran. I got to go with them. The best is probably England. I can't argue with that.
Okay.
They're bringing horses. They're bringing the best players in that group, should I say. Probably the best 5 players in that group are all English.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until you get to maybe Pulisic.
Okay, let me ask you this. I know this is sort of dragging us out a little bit, but since you mentioned it, if you say Pulisic is one of the 5 best players in the group, who on England are you sitting down in the attack so you can bring Pulisic on?
Nobody. I was being nice by saying top 5. They really have more than 5.
Player.
They really have more than 5. But like, this is where I think the USA, I'm not going to pick them as the top of that group, but you're kind of seeing that changing of the guard. We're like, we have better athletes than the rest of y'all. We're breeding athletes here, I think. Maybe not soccer players, but athletes. So I think these guys are starting to get a taste of like that young soccer love. So this young generation might be good. They might push some people, and this is what it takes. I think they make it out that group.
You think USA makes it out the group?
I think they can make it out that group.
Because you only need 4 points to make it out of the group. So just one win and one draw.
Yes, I think they can make it out. And I think that lights the USA fire for maybe the next 8 to 12 years where we start to compete.
Okay. So I can't argue against you with England being the best, but I think the worst team in the group is Wales.
Really?
I would say that is because their best players are old and their best physical players are really young and inexperienced.
Okay, fair. I like Harry Wilson a lot.
I mean, I like Daniel James a lot. I liked him at United. I like him at Fulham. But being fast, he's one of those fast and that's it kind of guys. You know, he's a road runner. A road runner didn't even talk, but he was fast, and he's a lot of people's favorite cartoon character. You know, that's all he's really bringing. I don't know, like Wales' best player, like I said, they're just older. Like they're experienced, right? Like they're bringing something, and Gareth Bale is not even fully fit. He didn't play 60 minutes a game like in the MLS. In the MLS.
I feel like at this point, Gareth Bale's like another CR7, but without all the accolades.
Yeah. Gareth Bale is a guy who used to be one of the best athletes on the field or on the pitch, but like those days are behind him. But if you fall asleep on him, you're sadly mistaken.
He'll make you pay.
Yeah. And so if Wales is in some games where it's tied and he comes on in the 60th minute, you know, he can make some noise. He can make some noise in the 70th minute, 75th. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but like the question about Wales,
that
like
magic you're gonna count on. National pride means a lot. It does. I think
in order to count on that kind of magic happening, you need to have enough pieces around you or around that magician to keep everything afloat or to keep your team in the game until he comes on. Portugal could do that. Wales, like to your point, I don't think they can do that.
I mean, their center backs don't scare me. Their keeper doesn't scare me. Their midfield doesn't scare me. You know, like nothing about that team.
I don't know who they are, but I also don't know who Iran is. So I was just like,
okay. No, I was gonna say about Group B, like if you sleep on Iran, you are mistaken. So their manager is I don't know what nation he's from, but he's Hispanic. He's from Latin America or maybe even South America. But this dude, like, he is the godfather of Iranian football. Like, their tactics are so crisp and nasty, and it's all because of him. Like, tactically, really good football.
Carlos Queiroz, however you say his
name. Yes, he is nice. And Iran also, you know, Mehdi Taremi plays for Porto. Last year, I want to say he was in the tops in the Champions League, like maybe top 3 in goals scored. And he scored against Man City. I think he had a hat trick against Man City. And like,
now that you've told me those two things, can I change the worst to Wales?
Yes.
Because I know that manager, because I remember watching the last World Cup, like, who is this guy? He's not Iranian, but he has them playing so well.
They made it out of the group stage in Russia. They did. They made it to the round.
I remember his face. It was his face that gave it away.
I think they made it to the top 8 in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. I think they won one game in the round of 16 too before they lost. So like they're not scrubs, and I hope USA like is ready for them because they got 2 like goal scorers. They got what's my man Osmoon? He plays for Leverkusen.
Mm-hmm.
And
the young striker.
Yes, and you got Taremi who plays for Porto. And not only did Taremi lead, he had a hat trick against Man City. And you know who the center backs in Man City is: John Stones and Ruben Diaz, like 2 dudes who are going to feature in this World Cup and are not in this group. But he also scored one of the best goals, period, in the Champions League. He was nominated for the Puskas Award because he had I want to say he had a bicycle kick, like an overhead bicycle kick that scored. And it was just filthy. So this dude, he's legit. Now, I know he's one player, but again, he's surrounded by dudes who know how to play good tactical football.
He's one player, but he's one of like 10 standout strikers there, I think.
Yeah.
On separate teams. France has a lot on one team. Certain teams have like 2 or 3, but kind of to counter the Gareth Bale and Ronaldo conversation, he can play the whole game, so it's okay.
Yes, he can play the whole game.
Yeah,
you're right.
And he can do things the whole game.
And you have to watch him for a full 90. You can't fall asleep. Just because you keep him quiet for the first 70 doesn't mean nothing.
He ran through Pep. If you ran through a Pep defense, you can run through most of these back lines that are marching out in this World Cup.
Yeah. Agreed. Like I said, Ruben Diaz and John Stones, those are 2 guys that are featuring on 2 favorites in this World Cup. Mm-hmm. And he scored a hat trick on them cats. So, don't sleep on him. All right, Group C, Argentina, Saudi Arabia, Mexico, and Poland. Give me your best and your worst.
Best, Argentina. The worst, I'm going to have to say Saudi Arabia. Argentina for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
Poland, they got a good midfield. I'm trying to think. I don't think I know anybody on their back line. Chesney's a good goalie. And I'm not going to argue against Lewandowski. He's going to make you pay. They know how to play with him. So I can't give you guys the worst. Mexico fights. They got some dogs, and they want to fight. Saudi Arabia, I don't know anybody playing for that team, so that's why they got the nomination first.
Okay. So, you know me, I got to come in and tell you that the team that you picked is the worst is not as bad as you think.
That's what I'm here for.
So, I Argentina, obvious reasons, right? However, I think the worst team, in my opinion, is Mexico. Their center backs, trash. Their strikers, trash. Their keeper, trash.
Fair. Are they still marching out Ochoa?
Yeah, they got wingers and a midfield. Congratulations. Oh, they got that one center back who plays for United. I can't think of his name.
Lisandro?
Yeah, Lisandro Martinez. Okay.
No, is he Argentinian?
Oh, is he?
He's Argentinian.
Man, that's that. Okay. Yeah, that's that. I don't think Mexico has a shot in this group.
Okay.
If I'm being honest. And Saudi Arabia, they're not necessarily good, but what they will be is supported by the local crowd because the games are right there.
Okay.
Qatar, Saudi Arabia is like US and Mexico. I'm pretty sure those countries touch each other. And they're gonna have way more fans at their games, at all of their games, than they play Poland to a tough 2-1 game. or 1-0 game. You know what I'm saying? They may. I'm pretty sure they'll beat Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I know they don't have a chance against Argentina, regardless of how many people are there supporting. But I think Mexico's the worst team in this group. I've watched enough Mexican football to know that they ain't got it.
That's fair.
They ain't got it. Like, who's scoring goals? Raul Jimenez with the little head, with the what's under the Peter Cech headgear. Like, good luck.
I can't answer that question, but they've got pride.
They got pride. I mean, they're proud. They're scrappy. They fight. I give you that. I give you that. I ain't saying Saudi Arabia is going to run over Mexico, but I'm saying in the end, it's hard to play 90 minutes with the crowd cheering against you every time you touch the ball. It's hard.
I do understand that side of it. That is a good point. But, all right, so
and a lot of these
I'm going to stand on. I'm going to stand on Saudi Arabia being the worst on this.
Okay, so we can agree to disagree in that group. All right, moving to Group D. We got France, Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia.
I mean, the obvious best is France. The worst, I'm going to say Tunisia. I think that's safe.
I think that's very safe. They have like 2 guys, I think, that are playing at top 5 nation clubs. Like, I think they have maybe 2 guys in Ligue 1 in France, and I don't even think they're starters. So again, though, to qualify for the World Cup out of Africa, like, that means something.
That's true.
It means something because there are a lot. Like, Nigeria is not coming. You know what I'm saying? Ivory Coast is not coming, and they got some dogs. So I'm not here to say that these dudes are scrubs. I just think I know they're better than Australia, but being better than Australia doesn't mean you're better than France or Denmark. Like, I think Denmark is full of professionals, and I think France is just going to out talent you. Like, they're Alabama and you're New Mexico State. Like, it's just not, not close.
This isn't fair. You are tuned up. We're just having fun here.
We don't have to dwell on that group too long. I think we know what time it is there.
Very true.
Group E: Spain, Costa Rica, Germany, and Japan.
Man, so the worst, I'm going to say Costa Rica because all they've got is Keylor Navas. The best, I'm going to go with Germany over Spain because they're 2 machines. You just have an older machine versus a younger machine.
Okay.
So this World Cup, I think Germany's the best team. The next one, I think it'll be Spain if they're in the same group like this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Costa Rica. So they're also my pick for the worst. However, I'm not. This is tough because Keylor Navas, like, you want to just say, like, it's easy to say, well, that's just the best guy they got, right? But, like, when you go to Costa Rica, the airport is named the Keylor Navas International Airport. And there's not many living people that have airports named after them. Like, he means so much to that place in particular. And again, we talk about national pride being a mother, right? Like, I think they'll get 1 or 2. I 2 may be stretching it, right? Because I don't think they'll beat Spain or Germany, but, like, I know they'll beat Japan. I know, or at least draw. It's gonna mean a lot. I think so. And so, what it's just gonna come down to is, like, is Japan gonna upset Germany or Spain in the group? And if I'm being honest, I've watched Japan play a lot. They actually are a lot deeper than you think. Their only struggle is scoring goals. And Japan and Spain unfortunately have the same weakness because I don't think Spain is scoring goals like that. And when you talk about games that are going to come down to one goal in extra time, anything can happen. A lucky bounce, an own goal, a free kick, so somebody gets a head on the ball in the last second, like stuff like that matters.
I do agree with that.
So I would like to believe that if the games are close, Spain may not make it out of this group. They're talented, they're young, they know how to move without the ball. They don't really I think of the best athlete on Spain. Like, you got to be able to outpace somebody at some point. You got to be stronger and faster than somebody at some point. I don't see that. Like, their best athletes are in their late 30s.
Did they bring Adama Traore?
No, they did not.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
They're young and they're up and coming, and they got a team full of prime Klay Thompsons.
That's a great way to put it, because I understand exactly what you're saying.
Is that a really good player to have? Absolutely. Is that a player that's going to win you something by itself? No.
Nah.
No. Not. That's Spain. So it could come down to Germany and Japan making out of the group. And it could also come down to Costa Rica playing Spain in a tough game and finishing third place in a group. Like, I'm not high on Spain at all. I'm not. Like, they have a crest, but there's always a big club, a big nation to go down early, And I think Spain is primed and ready to go down.
The most vulnerable. I do agree with that.
Prove me. Like, La Liga football is boring. I think most of Spain's starting 11 play in Spain. Mm-hmm. It's boring. And you would think like that movement would be exciting, but it's not. Like,
is it style of play?
I don't necessarily think it's style of play. I think it's just going to come down to scoring goals. The best goal scorers are going to be in the German team in that group. Japan, I told you, their biggest struggle is scoring goals. They got $1 million moves and 10-cent finishes. Like, they can set people up all day, but nobody's putting the ball in the back of the net for Japan.
Okay, I understand what you're saying now. It's like, I want to call Costa Rica the worst just because of their team, but like, you don't score on them. They know what they have to do. Make it hard to get past our back line, because Keylor will do everything back there. We love this man.
And just when you think those dudes are bums, like, you'll look up and the cross is whipping in and you're down 1-0 with the quickness, right? Like,
and this is what makes tournaments like this so great. It's like being on varsity, then the freshmen come up to play you, and they whoop you, and you're just like, what? We just got punched in the mouth by the freshmen? Yeah, we were amped to play you. You thought we were trash. We've been waiting to play you this entire time. And I feel like, to your point, I think Costa Rica is going to come like that. I could see that. Japan, they're like cold machines. They just don't have enough talent.
Yep. Japan is, they got a good midfield. They got some decent fullbacks. The cover's not there, but their keeper, I don't think, is in any good league to speak of. And their finishers don't finish well. So they're going to concede and they're not going to score.
You can't have both.
Right.
If there's one thing I've realized, like, the past couple of years watching soccer, you need a goalie that is experiencing that's in a good league, because those balls are coming at you with some weird angles with crazy speed. And if you're not facing that consistently, when you get to the World Cup, what are you going to do when Harry Kane boots one at you?
Right.
Off just planting, turning, and
or when Benzema is hitting you with something weird.
Yeah, that you've never seen before. And you're just like, what?
Benzema hit you with a Travella. It's real. It's real. He actually did that in the game. So, like, you got to be ready for that. Group F. Belgium, Canada, Morocco, Croatia. To me, that's the group of death, bro.
That's the hardest group. For the worst team, I'm going to say a tie between Canada and Morocco.
Mm-hmm.
Only because Canada has no experience.
Okay.
No experience whatsoever. Morocco, I don't know that you have much more, but you do have more than Canada does. And I do believe in Hakimi and Ziyech. And they have somebody else. They have a striker, don't they? I feel like Morocco has a decent striker.
They may.
They got a belt. They probably didn't bring Tarak. I feel like he's old.
Yeah, I think he's retired.
So I would say tie between those two for the worst. The best, Belgium. I don't know. I would say tie and tie for both.
Okay.
To me, honestly, because like Croatia, I think they can go. They're not going piece for piece with Belgium, but their pieces work well together. Their pieces work really well together for that Croatian team. They have a bunch of Swiss Army knives that know how to play together.
Yeah, I would say, when you talk about a balanced team, right, like attack and defense, I think they do both equally well. And then when you talk about all three phases, attack, midfield, and defense, I think they got world-class guys on every level. They got world-class wingers. They got world-class defenders. Croatia is going to be tough. It's going to be tough to score on them. It's going to be tough to stop them from scoring on you. Set pieces are going to be a challenge. That's a tough team. I pray for anybody who's got to see them. Morocco, I think they're going to be the worst. I think they're going to be the worst because Ziyech is not getting a whole lot of first team minutes because when he plays at Chelsea, he's awful. He's terrible. He's not looking good. He's either brilliant or trash. I mean, there is no in between. And his form lately is just trash. Hakimi, when's the last time we talked about that dude in a game? He doesn't really stand out on screen. I mean, he was good enough to get bought from Dortmund, and I think he was really good last year. But, what you did last year is not going to afford you anything this year. I don't see it with Morocco. Congratulations, you're in the World Cup, but, you're going home early. I think Canada, while they're young, again, they've got guys playing in European football. Their best players, not unlike the USA, are playing European club level games. They got two guys in Belgium. They got a striker in France. They got fullbacks in Turkey and the Bundesliga. Now, I think their keeper is a little sus, but Canada will be fine. And I think they can maybe play. I'm not going to say they can steal a game. I don't see that, but I think they'll play Croatia and Belgium tight. I will say my pick is Belgium, but I'd say that if there's a team to get something off of, you can get it off Belgium before you can get it off Croatia. I'd see Belgium slipping before I see Croatia slipping. But
I agree with
that's a really tough group.
My thing with Morocco and Canada, I feel like between Davies, Hakimi, and Ziyech, Davies is a little different, but like he just kind of plays a role for Bayern. Just go crazy down this left-hand side. we can do everything else. The same kind of thing with Hakimi, I think. Go crazy down this right hand side. We can do everything else. Ziyech, not so much. He's not playing well right now. But I think all three of those guys, what we're going to see this World Cup, which one of the three, which of you guys can take what you're getting with your club team that's really good because you're around some amazing players and bring that here and help us and be a leader.
Yeah. A lot of that group is going to be made by what happens in that Canada-Morocco game.
Exactly. So, like, Alphonso Davies, can you take what you're getting at Bayern and, like, help us understand that here in Canada?
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's fit. I don't think he's fit.
Really?
He's in form, but he got hurt.
Okay, if he's not playing, well, then they get my vote.
I think they're bringing him, but I think, he's going to be limping out there. And if that's the best athlete in the group, not just on his team, but in the group, that's going to be tough.
I do agree with that. He is their game changer. I can do anything for him. But
all right, so
Group G.
We got two groups before we get out of here. Brazil, Serbia, Switzerland, Cameroon. Who you got?
Best Brazil. Worst. I'm gonna say Cameroon. I'm gonna have to say Cameroon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who Switzerland brought with them, but I really believe in their goalie and the few defenders that I know they have that are Swiss that are good.
Akanji.
Yes, Akanji and Babu. Guys that just they may not be good, but they're fast and big, which works for me. You're fast and big and you play top flight football.
Yeah, we talk about bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah.
Yeah, that's enough for me. And you have a good goalie who knows what he's doing back there.
Yeah, you got Zakaria, you got Mbolo, you got Harris.
Forgot about Thank you. I forgot about all of those guys.
Mm-hmm. Really good Swiss football.
Yeah. So it's Cameroon for me because Serbia, I rock with Milinkovic Savic, Sergey, and all those guys. I think they're going to hold their own.
That's my man, Kostic.
Yes. Kostic. I always mix up the Serbians and the Croatians.
I have a tough time with those two as well. Serbians, Croatians, and Latvians for me are just it's like the
same people.
Yeah, I have a tough time with that. Let's see, Brazil, no contest. I want to say Serbia is probably going to be last in the group. Again, you hate to give a big nation or a talented nation the last team in the group. But again, how many talented nations have gone out in the group stage? I mean, it's easy to drop games at this level. I just think top to bottom, they don't have as much depth as Switzerland and Cameroon. That's really all I was going to come down to is like, you maybe have 4 guys who start for you that don't start in their leagues. And then you got guys coming behind them off the bench who are real bench warmers in Serbia. Because Serbia is a small enough nation. Like, I don't think Serbia is bigger than I don't think Serbia is bigger than maybe Iowa. It's not a big nation. So, you're talking about 11 dudes from Iowa that can compete. You know what I'm saying?
It's a good point when you put it like that. One other thing I'm thinking about, what is the weather going to be like during these games?
I'm pretty sure as long as they're day games, they'll be 70s, 75. I used to live in Qatar. So at night games are really cold because it's a desert and the temperature swings are ridiculous, especially in the winter months. So any night games is actually going to be really cold. And if you go to a game that starts at 6 and gets out at 7:30, 8 o'clock, the temperature swing at that time is going to be something serious. So that's something to look out for.
Okay, as long as they're not really hot games.
No, it's the winter in the desert.
Okay.
They're on the other side of the world, but they're also closer to the equator, and they're at the bottom of the equator.
Okay, I don't think that'll play much of a part. So you're going with Serbia and Brazil?
I'm going with Brazil and Switzerland to make.
Oh, you said Brazil and Switzerland
to make it out. Yeah, so Serbia is going to be the worst team. Yeah.
Okay.
Last group, and we'll shut it down here. Portugal, Ghana, Uruguay, Korea. Who you got?
It's like, while I want to say Portugal's going to make it out, Uruguay also could. Darwin Nunez and those guys could just go crazy for a couple games. I think Korea is going to be the worst. I think they're going to be the bottom because they've got some players that I can think of, but I feel like Ghana has more top flight good players.
Mm-hmm. I hate to be the guy that's like putting stock in last World Cup, but like Korea made it out of the group stage in 2018.
Fair. That's fair. Let me think. I don't know the team that well, so I'm kind of just shooting in the dark here by who I do know.
No, I mean I don't know that team well either. I don't.
And my Ghana thing is this: Iñaki Williams is freed. I was never playing for Spain. Never playing for that Spanish national team. Now I can play.
Man, so they used to call him the Black Panther in the Spanish national team. That was his nickname. But him playing for Ghana, like he has no continuity with these dudes. He didn't play well in AFCON. I think Ghana was one of the first nations eliminated from AFCON.
Really?
Yeah, they were expected to do well and were not good. I got about as much faith in Ghana as I do in Korea because I just don't trust that team. While they have the talent, I just don't think they know how to play together. I don't know that they have a direction. They got talented guys, but so does Korea. I mean, again, you look at it, you're here, you're on this, you're in the World Cup. Like nobody's scrubs, but when it's going to come down to like 11 versus 11, it also is going to come down to 11 dudes who know how to do the job together.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that Ghana knows what they're doing.
I get what you're saying. It's like you have no continuity, but you also don't have good players either. At least if you had good players, you could just drop them in and be like, you know what to do. Your players are mid, and you don't play together well.
Yeah, they're definitely mid. That's who's the when you hear Ghana, who's the first player that pops into your mind? Because mine is Thomas Partey.
Current player?
Yeah.
He's the best, but the first that pops for me is just Iñaki Williams because of how recent that is.
Yeah. I'm thinking if I dwell on it a little bit, I get my man Kevin Prince, Boateng.
KPB.
Who else do I get? Mohamed Kudus, who plays for Ajax.
That's another good one.
After that, it gets real thin on me.
This is why I think Ghana, you need the system to work, but they have some studs. They have some physical specimens on that team that I think.
Yeah, but again, having studs and no way to plug them in, get them the ball, put them in the best situations. don't see them playing great football because at AFCON, it's not about who's got the best players.
Mm-hmm.
It's about who can play the best together. And that's in Africa. And when you zoom out and you're putting these people on the world stage, again, if you have good players, congratulations, good for you. But what are y'all doing together?
I get that. What are you doing together, especially when everybody else is playing together?
Mm-hmm. Another player I thought about, Duncan in Serie A. I think he plays for Fiorentina.
The center mid.
Yeah. And then they got that one guy, Jesse. He plays for Spezia.
Oh. What is... No, that's Ivory Coast. I was thinking of Kessie.
Yeah, he's Ivory Coast. And again, like Ivory Coast didn't win AFCON. They got depth. They got really solid dudes. But it's going to come down to like how good can y'all play together?
It makes a lot of sense.
That's what AFCON is all about. It ain't about who's on your team. You know, you can have the best player in a singular league, but if that's all you got, you're not gonna get it done.
Does any team in AFCON have two studs? I feel like most don't. They're the only team.
Koulibaly, Mendy, Mane.
And Mane. Okay.
Ivory Coast has Zaha and Kessié and Eric Bailly.
Nicholas Pepe, if they want to use him.
Yeah, Nico. He's so sometimey. We talk about wishy-washy. Yeah. It gets super thin in Africa when you start adding like dudes to multiple nations. Now, if you have a first 11 from Africa, okay, now we can get somewhere. But when you go nation by nation, man, it's usually like one or two guys, and one of those guys is almost never a keeper. I think that's it, man. I think I want to thank you for spending time with me today on the pod, man. This is gold. We got about an hour worth of content for me to edit, so this will be fun. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for today's episode. I want to thank you again for tuning in, and I would also like to make sure that you are subscribed and that you are leaving ratings and comments on this podcast. This is going to help me grow tremendously. So thank you for your time, and I appreciate you.